Let me introduce the next session chairman. Well, everybody knows, I think, he spoken earlier. He had spoken earlier. Chief Technology Officer of ICTA, Sanjay Kannasan. Will you please take the...
Thanks, Harsha, for the introduction. So next session is about mobile applications, which happen to be my key interest area as well, in terms of development and delivering citizen services. So this session is going to look at the current trends in issues around mobile application and the impact they have on consumer and businesses. So we're going to have 4 speakers, but of course doing 3 presentations. Yeah, so don't worry, it won't eat too much into your tea, even though we are a little late. So our first speaker is Steve Stevens. He's going to talk to us about the impact of social media on mobile devices is changing the world. Of course, we heard him in the morning doing a very exciting presentation. So I will save time, if you don't mind, not going through the introduction, since we all know him.
Okay, hello everyone. I think you know who I am. And what I've got today, this afternoon, is going to talk about, well, it's called the impact of social media with mobile devices. It's mostly a talk about social media, but also covers a lot about the impacts of social devices that people are using. I've got 3 examples here. You've got your iPad, your iPhone 4, your BlackBerry. These are one of the things that is changing social media, and it's only going to change even more. Just over 1 year old, and who hasn't heard of an iPad? An entire planet. iPhone 4, just over 3 years old. Android, I think about 2.5 years old, or 2 to 2.5. I'm not really an Android expert. And these are the sort of things that are accelerating social media faster than anything before. So what is social media? Social media is an umbrella term that defines the various activities that integrate technology, social interaction, and the construction of words, pictures, audio, video, and audio. That's from Wikipedia. I've also added social media is a two-way medium. It's not a newspaper, it's not television, although some of those platforms are trying to do integration with social media. It's people having conversations online. It cannot happen in one-way mediums. The only mashup, I presume that is a term that is familiar here, the only mashup that is where TV shows are starting to put in, like I watch a show called Fringe, and in the bottom corner you'll see #Fringe. So when this TV show is going to air, all these people start jumping on Twitter and making comments about the show as it's happening. The last election in Australia, there was a lot of commentary on the different TV channels, and there's a big plasma sitting next to the presenters, which is just rolling non-stop with Twitter comments of people doing the hashtags. So that's the only way that TV and radio is starting to become a multimedia stream. They're the only ways they can really, they're trying to sort of bring social media to them. Now, it is my personal belief that social media, its trends, the issues it faces, and the contents of this presentation are relevant everywhere. Same as in the US, Australia, China, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Afghanistan, anywhere. Is exactly the same. It's just about when, not if these particular issues are happening. Most of the facts in this presentation are US Western based. They're the ones that have been easily measured, as a lot of the developing world is still being collected and the statistics are being collected. Now, I particularly like this slide. It's about the timeline of social media. It's one of my favourite slides that I've seen. I found a rudimentary form which had quite a few errors, so I fixed a lot of the errors up. But I started playing with the BBSs and the MUDs. I actually had an account on The Well. It's probably not a well-known site here. And then going forward with also things like IRC, Blogger, LinkedIn came in 2003. A lot of people say that Facebook started in 2004, but it didn't really. It started with universities for quite a period of time. It actually started in late 2006. September 2006 is when it was open to the public. And then you see some of the others where a very recent one, Foursquare, Twitter's 2006. So all these media, I mean, just look at these names. How many of them are worth 5, 10, billions of dollars already in the last couple of years? It's LinkedIn just listed the other day. I think it was worth 4.3 billion or something at the end of trade of the first day. Absolutely amazing. So what took so long for social media? Because we have had the internet. Well, I saw it turned on in Australia in 1989. It makes me feel old. But what took so long? Well, social media lives and breathes with the internet. It doesn't really work in any other medium. Computers were expensive for the first X number of years. They were large and they were uncommon. Netbooks are now $250 or less with the Asus EPCs and things like that. The online social activities at the time were for geeks and nerds, and they were pretty much only in English, so that's one of the things that took so long. And it was often for the young. Universities are the ones that created sort of the hype of the internet. And they were on it first, but that's why all the companies came. Because why would you ignore a medium or a place that had millions and millions of young, impressionable, marketable people? So as I said before, the iPad's over 1 year old. What will come next? iPad 2 has just hit, millions sold already in the last couple of months. iPhone 5 around September. Who else? What else? I've got all the toys. I've got the BlackBerry Playbook. I've got the Motorola Zoom. Which one of these are going to succeed and take things forward, and especially with the Android platforms? Half of my staff carry little Galaxy tabs. I don't think they're that great yet, but these things are coming. What is next? In 2007, Time magazine reported that social media overtook porn as the #1 most popular activity on the internet. That's interesting. Now, I'm going to run through these facts. I actually have a lot of content, so I apologise, and you'll have to drag me off the stage if I go too long. And there's a lot of interesting things, but I'm going to go through them very quickly. In 2010 last year, the Gen Y outnumbered the baby boomers. 96% of them are on a social network. In 2008, 1 out of 8 couples who married met via social media. Maybe 1 in 5 now. If Facebook was a country, it would be the 3rd largest in the world after China and India, with now more than 500 million. I think it's about 600 million now. I particularly liked an article in Time magazine where they were talking about Mark Zuckerberg. They said, Facebook is not a company. It is a human event. And that is quite interesting, you know. And Google, they also put Google in that same category. It's a human event. It's changing the way we live. Coca-Cola doesn't do that, except needs more dental treatment. All these companies that come out there, IBM, Microsoft changed things big time. So did Apple a long time ago, but on a much smaller degree. This is interesting. The fastest growing segment on Facebook is 55 to 65-year-old females. Kids are already on. It's now time for the seniors to get on. 95% of companies use LinkedIn as a tool to check out their employees. I do, every single one of them. I also look on Facebook, I look on Twitter, I look anywhere I can find to see if I can find information about them. And I have met and interviewed good staff that I thought would look good, and then I've seen some things online that I did not hire them. And people have to understand about this thing. It's a new thing called reputation management online. Gen Y and Z consider email passé. Not interesting. In 2009, Boston College stopped even giving email addresses to incoming students. The second largest search engine in the world is YouTube. Google is still #1. And more than 80% of Twitter usage is from outside of Twitter. 40% apps and 40% using mobile devices. And that like everything else in the last couple of years with the smartphones and what's about to happen over the next year with cheaper smartphones, it's going to go crazy. I think mobile usage will probably go to 90% in the very next 2 years. Wikipedia has over 13 million articles, and some suggest it's more accurate than the Encyclopedia Britannica, which has no crowdsourcing verification. This is amazing. Facebook users translated the site from English to Spanish in less than 4 weeks and cost Facebook nothing. The way Facebook has so many languages, I'm going to assume it's in Sinhalese and other thing. Yes? No? Facebook?
So there are single users.
Yep. Is the language in Sinhalese yet? Okay. So what Facebook does is they put up a list of 100 words, welcome, hello, like, dislike, and the people from that speak those language all suggest what the word should be. And when you get 20,000 responses for the word welcome, it's pretty easy to go, that's the most appropriate one. So Facebook don't have to do any work. They let you do the work to translate their entire site into your language. That's just amazing. It'll be in every language in the next few years. Hulu, which is an American video on demand, grew from 60 million streams, and 1 year later, 373 million. These guys are about to come into Australia. They're going to start coming into all the other different countries out of the US. 35% of book sales on Amazon are ebooks for the Kindle and the Kindle software. More than 1.5 million pieces of content daily are added to Facebook. And most of that is going to have to be on these devices. There's no way there's that many people sitting at home taking photos of something at home and just uploading it. 34% of bloggers post articles about products and brands, and 54% post daily. 90% of people who skip adverts will do it. So the technology, people's time is precious now, which is why people aren't sitting in front of the computer all the time and social media is so popular. 200 million blogs and YouTube with 100 million videos. Now this is a very interesting thing. The time it took to reach 50 million users. Radio, 38 years. TV, 13. The internet, 4. iPod, 3. And Facebook at 100 million in 9 months. 200 million 8 months later. And iPhone apps, 1 billion in 9 months were downloaded. Oh, this is just a quick slide. It's about trust. Trust on social media. Trust about what people are getting from other people.